Good day, distinguished judges. We are the ASL team from MBA Universitas Gadjah Mada, and our proposal is resolving the micro trilemma. Hari ini, Widyastutis 2027 decision is this. Which social outcome should Berry optimize, and how should it allocate resources, without spending more of the one thing Berry cannot buy more of? Mantri, attention. Our three perspective map to the desirability, viability, and visibility triangle. Entrepreneurship, finance, and human resources. We are supervised by Mr. Rico Saktiawan Jangjaya. In the first quarter of 2026, Berry Group's borrowers fell 4.1%, while the loan portfolio grew 5.3%. That divergence has two readings: healthy deepening or early mission drift, and one period cannot tell us which is exactly why BRI must measure graduation, inclusion, and portfolio quality separately. Our root cause chain explain why drift would be rational. Bearish hybrid mandates creates three priorities that are not equally measurable, so incentives reward the outcome easiest to count: portfolio quality. And because 77% of Indonesia MSMEs still keep their records by hand, Mantri must collect the same information again and again and again. So the bending constraint is not budget, it is Mantri attention. This is a failure of measurement and sequencing. The case asks two questions. We answer the second one first. Because you cannot allocate resources until you know which social outcome you are buying. Our weighted decision matrix score depth of transformation at 4.6 out of 5, against 3.55 for breadth and 3.1 for community resilience. And depth is not an artifact of our weight. It scores at least as high as community resilience on every criterion. So, no reweighting can reverse that ranking. Depth means validated progress across the five verifiable dimensions shown here, not simply a larger loan. Our stakeholder power interest mapping shows why debt still needs bonding. The SOE owner, OJK, shareholders, and Mantri each pull on a different outcome. So debt carries to guardrails. At least 20% of empowerment resources reserved for first time and ultra micro inclusion, and no NPL deterioration. That is the for whom, now the how much. A single national ratio would treat 65 million heterogeneous MSMEs as if they shared one problem. So we segment by bending constraint, not by size. C3, half the cohort, cannot yet be seen. Their constraint is basic financial discipline. So 80% of their resources go to supply readiness. C maju, need capability and offers repeat buyer. Balance 50-50. C naik kelas are already capable. What they lack is buyers, standards, and skill. So 80% goes to demand. Aggregated, and the answer is 60.5% supply, 39.5% demand. This is a pilot allocation, not a permanent national formula. Will be recalibrated after the Q1 baseline and reviewed quarterly. Now, Nurkalis will explain what makes it measurable.
Next is about dua kantong. An allocations you cannot measure is only an opinion. So we score three enablers. First one is classroom mentoring. We score 2.55. Marketplace expansions we score 3.0, and then dua kantongs we score 4.05 out of 5. So and it scores at least as high as both on every criterion. So this ranking 2 survives any rewriting. But dua kantong is not our recommendations. It is what makes the recommendations observable. It applies Taylor's mental accounting, which is people manage money better when money is partitioned by purpose. Uh, Bang Jago demonstrate that Indonesian users are already familiar with pocket-based money partitioning. But the difference is about functions. Jago's pocket are personal budgeting. Dua kantong, routes merchant settlements, and Fitch credit assessments. Transaction, the system cannot classify confidently, stay visibly unclassified for weekly reviews. We never present an estimate as audited fact. It is a business health certificate profile, supplements, monthly judgments, and preprint. It never replace credit policy. Consent is explicit, purpose limit, and revocable. And then this slide is about hybrid delivery and market conversions. A digital-only design would create a new exclusion. Chris already reached 39.3 million merchants, 93% of them MSMEs, but only 23% of Indonesians had internet access in 2024. So delivery is hybrid. Digitally active merchants use Brimo and Chris. Cash dominant merchants come in through PNM group meetings and agen Brilling with assisted cash entry and print or SMS summaries. Digital access is never a precondition for empowerment, but visibility doesn't create buyers. So, Dua Kantong fits a market conversion engine that runs backward from demand. It starts with a real buyer specification, not a marketplace listing, and screen readiness against that specifications, which is why we do not count market access in registration, listing, or MOUs. We count it in qualified orders, fulfillment, and repeat purchase. And then this one is about monthly operating model. This changes what a monthly does. They review exceptions, codes with evidence, validate graduation, and orchestrate referrals. They do not broker every transaction, certify export standard, or act as software support because those belong to ecosystem partners. And the incentive must change with the role. Recall and Rothschild experiment shows loan officer paid on portfolio size withhold their best borrowers from graduations, and that correcting the incentive reverse it. There is precisely PRI's exposure. So we rebalance the scorecard. 30% portfolio sustainability, 30% sustainable graduation, 20% business health improvement, 10% market outcomes, and then last 10% inclusion pipeline, all under an NPL floor. Activation stays a leading indicator, never a target. And then the next, Konita will explain about pilot project, economic, and the scale decisions.
Thank you, Nurholis. Because several parameters are still assumptions, 2027 should be a controlled experiment, not a national rollout. In Q1, establish the baseline, constant treatment and comparison cohorts, and sign buyer demand. In Q2, launch the pilot across 3 regional offices, covering 100,000 merchants and 500 certified monthly. In Q3, test qualified orders at least 85% classification accuracy and no NPL deterioration. Then in Q4, difference in differences tells us whether to scale, redesign, or stop. By matching units on the observable characteristic shown here, we can attribute the change to Dua Kantong rather than the broader economy. And our primary task is graduation uplift against the match control, not activation. This is an auditable scenario, not a BRI forecast. The estimated cost is 3 billion rupiah to build and 750 million annually to operate. At steady state, release monthly capacity, lower credit losses, and graduation revenue generate approximately 4.6 billion rupiah in annual value, implying a payback of about 9 months. Our base case assumes 60% activation, but the pilot still pays back within one benefit year at 49% activation and within 2 years at 29%. So the economics and our 29% stop boundary are aligned. However, positive economics are not permission to scale. We stop or redesign if NPL rises, monthly workload doesn't fall, classification remains inaccurate, concern in pressured or vulnerable merchant access declines. For Arini in 2027, our recommendation is built on 5 connected decisions. Prioritize step of transformation while maintaining the 20% inclusion floor, allocate 60.5% to supply and 39.5% to demand, segmented by bottleneck and rebalance quarterly. Treat Dua Kantong as the evidence layer, not the objective. Start market access from real buyer orders, measure true fulfillment and repeat purchase, and scale only when the pilot proves incremental graduation and commercial value without higher NPL, exclusion, or monthly workload. Thank you.